Alright, we have, I mean, I guess you'd call this, well, I wouldn't call this a double upload technically, because I recorded the original episode, like... several hours ago. I want to say it's around, like, 6. Remember, I don't actually remember when I recorded it. I could look, but I can't be bothered. Anyway, I technically recorded it on a different day, since it is now Monday, not Sunday, like I recorded the end of the Axel story. And... so yeah, I guess technically this isn't a double upload. Of course, just like Axel doesn't have an opening. So this guy's story is even weirder than Axel's, because at least Axel has, like, you know, a plausible reason for entering. You know, someone slew his wife. He wants to know who wouldn't get revenge. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, at least in the context of this game anyway, it does. It doesn't make sense, and it seems honestly pointless. This is an excuse to have Warthog in the game, since it was kind of like a favorite car from, you know, the first 5 Twisted Metal games that came before this one. This guy gets sad every time he kills someone, but he's been a serial killer for 12 years. Seems a little bit counterproductive, don't you think? The game almost couldn't handle Gearhead exploding there. It, like, stopped for a split second. Like, I think I had to render the explosion separately from everything else, apparently. Hey Ryan, get some flames! Okay, that's the obvious one. Get some flames! Get some bullets! Remember, crashing slows you down. It's funny, this thing feels so much slower than Axel, but it actually has the same speed. I guess it's just the size, that or it's like the geometry of the level makes it seem like I'm going slower, because it's more open. Ow. Yeah, see you later. The way that this vehicle's weapons are mounted is kind of weird looking. Let's see, if that hits me through the plane, I'm going to be annoyed. Have some missiles. Bye, Bedlam. Ow. Ah! Have fire on top of your already existing fire. The plane! The plane! That, I already took the health thing. Ow! God Christ, Sparky. Have this. Or don't. Instead just fall off, I guess, also works. Roasted. And you are dead. Oh, I didn't even know Governor was even here. I hadn't seen him yet. Boom! I'm not leaving. I am out of ammunition. Not that they need to know that. Whoa, that's some air. I don't know why I've ever hit him. Why did I even try? Roasted. There's so much beeping. Yes, so fast. Park in my incredibly large and damaging crosshairs. Alright. MLG over here with your combat axes. This isn't Black Ops. Fire. Oh, look at your health bar. Give me a break. One bullet. Just nearly landed and that blew her up. Him up. No. It's the characters are her. Governor is not. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say that parking in front of me is not an effective combat tactic. Just thought. So I mean, actually no. I'm not even gonna bother with like mentioning this story. He does actually fulfill that wish. He does apparently remove this alleged part of his head that makes him sad when he kills something or someone. And I just have to wonder, how does he remove that? Like, I guess unless he's like narrowed it down to a specific like section of the brain would be the only thing I can possibly think. But that, even for these games standards, like the standards of Twisted Metal as a whole, that is very not. It is very not like there. Like, it just doesn't seem to apply to much of anything that makes any kind of sense. I don't really know what else to word that, really. Because if I knew, I would have said it already. Bye, Gearhead. I hardly knew thee. That's a lot of damage. Ow, that is also a lot of damage. Haha! How's it over there? What? Where the heck? Okay. Ryan, get back here and get some flames. Now blow up. So, originally I was supposed to have like, you know, talking, like conversation pieces. Cause like what I did, because sometimes trying to remember a specific topic I'm supposed to bring up isn't very easy for me. OCD will do that. I literally have die casts of like cars from both things I'm trying to discuss. So one is the Super Tune from Velocity X, and the other one is not Speed Racer's car, but a different car from, well, Speed Racer. And those are supposed to, like, I'm just supposed to, you know, glance over there very briefly and to see, oh yeah, those things that are relevant to later, you know, ideas that I could possibly discuss if I run out of topics, but I haven't. That, however, has run out of health bar. I know that building is a good 3 times the size of this vehicle, but I just run it over immediately. The machine guns are adorable, 16 Angels and Governor. It really didn't look like very much damage, despite the fact that it was clearly in the line of damage the entire way through. So I don't know if I've actually mentioned the kind of idealized situation with any kind of recording software, as I've spent a good chunk of time explaining this variety of software to my folks who don't really understand the concept offhand, or really at all. I mean, I didn't fully understand it either, but I did kind of get the, generalized idea of it because of watching YouTube for so many years, so it kind of, I guess, helped in that regard. I wouldn't go over, okay, you didn't go over that. He's like, no, I was gonna Shazam you if you did that. I'm doing the thing you should not be doing, and I'm going to stop doing that thing now. Where am I going? Over the hill and onto my face. That is where I'm going. Oh, you want some fire? No, ow. Well, thank you for literally parking there and letting me fill you full of holes. Screw that sign. No, you're not welcome here. Also, can I point out this is a very small carnival? I don't know, that might hit. Oh yeah, it did. And it also immediately killed. You got over there, Yellow Jacket. Oh well, those missiles actually hit. And as for the timeline, of course, the problem is this is the Velocity War Precursor. But I'm recording this now, and have been recording it since, mid-early December. Bye, Danny. Ow! 16 Angels, what is your damage today? Go downtown, because I'm still sitting on those environmental attacks, and the highway loop doesn't have any. And what's weird too is this guy's design makes him look almost like Axel, and kind of a bit like The Rock too, like Dwayne Johnson. The funny thing is, once you hear his voice, he sounds nothing like he looks. Oh yeah, so yeah, this is the Precursor being recorded from mid-December to probably should finish this up close to Valentine's Day, ironically. Ironically, because Twisted Metal 2012, the most recent game in this series, came out in Valentine's Day 2012, and this might finish on its 7th anniversary, or so. Maybe even sooner if I'm quick about it, which I probably will be. As you can probably imagine, I am finding this level considerably more enjoyable. And it's not to say that I wasn't enjoying Universe Zero, but like, I'm actually playing the darn game now, so that's probably a big part of it, but also just because I've, always really liked playing car combat games of any kind. It doesn't even have to be Twisted Metal, it could even be one of the kind of crappy ones, like even the ones that are worse than Velocity X, which, I mean, there are a good chunk of games, honestly, even in the car combat genre, that I would consider to be less enjoyable than Velocity X. Biased as that might be, what was it, like Motor Mayhem Nothing was very intuitive in that game, and characters had no personality. They just kind of existed to be player characters, and in games like these, basically every car combat game except for Velocity X has been kind of known for like characters and, you know, the whole like independent story thing. Like every character has their own different story in this game. Just almost like a fighting game arcade mode, you know. Beat up 7 enemies in a row and then you fight M. Bison or whatever the heck, like main jackass of that fighting game is, and then you get like a little brief ending afterwards. Where are said helis? Oh, right over here. They fire a lot of missiles. Let's try again. They really attack too. They actually are intercept. They're actually trying to pursue the enemy, and there aren't very many of them, the pickups in this stage, which is kind of why it's nice that I saved 2 from the last stage. But if you can actually figure out a helicopter that's doing that and get AI near them, they mess their crap up. Like that. Sure, if they're moving away from the helicopter, they don't really do all that much. I just landed on Governor. One bullet is all I need. What? Oh, Alex was there. I didn't even see him. Obviously, I would have not been very confused. Alright. What was that interaction? And roasted. But anyway, so yeah, it is kind of a little bit of a problem when, okay, so estimation being close to Valentine's Day for finishing off with the series, but the earliest I can probably end up doing anything with an actual capture device would be, if I'd have to estimate, somewhere close to mid-April. Because, also like that was so well timed there by accident. And here we go with literally the same copy-paste line from the last 9 god-darn characters. 20 here is... I can really just do this. I mean, it's not like I wasn't doing that before, but it's also a matter of the flamethrower, which is exactly what he does to you as well. Expose your behind, thank you. You know, if I just kept fighting mega guns, I'd have been fine. Now die. I said now die. The reason for why I say mid-April, so I think I've definitely mentioned before, the available computers in this household are definitely not up to par, because I have the desktop in the other room, which is a Windows XP, and that's from like 2004, I'm pretty sure, or something around there. So any kind of editing software that I could even begin to find for such a device wouldn't probably even function properly. I mean, this thing has a hard time playing the Oregon Trail, or like the modernized like disc version from like 2003, and cannot play Need for Speed Carbon, which isn't really a taxing game. Um, there's my mom's laptop, which I think she said runs on Windows Vista, which I don't think would work very well either, but higher odds than the desktop in the other room. Problem is, Mom is the only one who knows the password, and she is not home right now, and hasn't been all week. She hasn't been since like Wednesday night, when she left for the night, and then, well, isn't here. She does that a lot. I'm just kind of used to it. It's really hard to explain, especially with you not really knowing how this family works, or anyone in it for that matter works. So I'm just gonna, not. And then there's my grandma's desktop out in her shop, which I think is on Windows 8, which I would probably say could work. The only problem is it's out in the shop and therefore in a completely different building from any video game console that I would record from, and there's no way to move them out there. Not to mention the shop is also a business, so if the last thing I would like is I'm sitting here recording something and one of her customers walks in and orders, the things that they do in the shop, which is silk screening, printing and screening, basically. So like like any kind of like employee shirt that involves like silk screening or printed logos, majority of them have been done by my grandma. For things like a lot of the school sports teams or restaurants in town and other various places. So the last thing I would like if I'm recording a Hot Wheels game is for just someone to walk in and, order some t-shirts. Like that doesn't help the process. Not to mention Grandma is usually using that desktop for her own purposes, so. But like I said, even if I wanted to, there isn't a way to get anything out there to record because the TV that is in that building is like 20 years old and like a 12-inch screen that is held way up off the ground on a TV stand, probably like 12 feet up in the air. So that's not very convenient. And then the last computer, and the most likely circumstances, my grandma's laptop, which has become something more of the commons laptop because it's the only laptop that's semi-competent in this, or even, the computer period that is competent. And like I said, it belongs to my grandma. I do use it for when I do homeschool. I should probably move on a little bit here. I do it when I do homeschool, and CN Fusion Fall is on there as well for like times like technically nothing's stopping me even right now from just going up, grabbing the laptop and the mouse adapter, coming back down with the computer and playing. I'm just, recording this, so I cannot do that. And then the idea would be maybe that Grandma's been kind of looking into one of those HD or HP Spectre laptops for a while. And so the idea is, should that be able to do the things required with a capture device, editing software and all that, then that would be like a hand-me-down. But Grandma isn't getting that computer for a pretty long time. So that's not exactly ideal either. Best case scenario, I just get that laptop as a birthday present alongside the capture device, which I don't remember what it was we decided on. because it's not my money, so it's really kind of on a tight budget. It's not like I can convince them to, you know, pay like $220 to let me record video games on an old console. Because I had to spend a lot of time explaining to my mom that yes, people on YouTube do watch videos on older video games from like the early to mid thousands. I mean, heck, there's an entire community based around speedrunning games that are older than me, so or some cases, like Super Mario Brothers, twice as old as me. Well, it's like 2 years off. Anyway, split.